If you are looking for a Cartier to match your tracksuit, look no further. Here it is, the large model of the Cartier Santos in steel with blue PVD bezel. And if I say tracksuit, I also mean denim attire. This is the bluest of Cartiers, and this is also the sportiest model yet. It's also quite chunky. So let's get into the exact measurements of the Cartier Santos. As you can see, this is not a small watch. It is a 47.5 long Santos de Cartier, and the width is 39.8 millimeters. Although it's big, it's not that high. It's 9.37 millimeters. And as you can see, the shape of the case and the way it flows into the bracelet is nice and elegant. But elegance is not a word that really describes this blue steel model. When I first saw this model, it was way earlier in the year. It was during Watches and Wonders. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to make of this large Santos with its very prominent bezel. And there are two things that caught my eye. First of all, it is of course the color blue. It's a PVD blue bezel, meaning it is very scratch resistant, meaning it will stay blue-ish. Another prominent feature is the shape of the bezel. So it's not only blue, it also seems to flow into the bracelet. And then there are the vertical stripes. Vertical stripes you also see on the white silvery dial. It is quite much. There is quite a lot of detailing, and that's not even everything. Because it is a Santos de Cartier, it has screws on the bezel. And if you have OCD, the screws can cause a serious problem. I don't have OCD, I think. Do I? No. But the screw heads are not completely aligned. And I know there are people who get very upset if the screws in the bezel don't align. But the thing is, I kind of like the fact that everything is perfect except for this little imperfection. I think it gives a little bit of a character. I know there are brands that have worked out the problem of misaligned screws. Cartier hasn't. Maybe it's laziness, maybe it's a design thing, but I think they did a good job. What else do you need to know about the sportiest of Cartiers? Well, it is water resistant to 100 meters. I've talked about Cartier, and particularly the Santos de Cartier before on a video, and then I talked about the fact that it's the first pilot's watch made for Alberto Santos Dumont in 1903, and that it's very instrumental. And I also talked about the shape of the Roman numerals, that they are inspired by Baron Haussmann's design of the Parisian streets, etc., etc. So I won't bore you with that. But what I do want to talk about is, or I want to raise the question actually, did Cartier manage to bring in an urban vibe or a sporty vibe into their most instrumental of watches? I find that pretty tricky to answer that question. First of all, because it's quite large. Well, you would say a sports watch should be a bit large, because during your athletic endeavors, you need to find out what the time is instantly. And also, it doesn't need to disappear under the cuff of the shirt. Well, point. But then you get to the aesthetics. And maybe I think Cartier overdid it a little bit with the blue. and the stripes. That's just my opinion, of course. So let me give you a few more facts before we can go back to the more subjective part. And that is the movement. The automatic movement inside this watch is the 1847 MC caliber, made in Val-Fleurier, Richemond's manufacturing movement plant. Is that a correct word? I think it is. You know what I mean. That's where it's made. And second, when you buy the watch for 8,050 euros, that's Dutch price, you get the steel bracelet with a beautiful invisible folding clasp, but you also get a blue rubber strap. And I don't have the rubber strap here, but I'm quite sure we can show a picture. That actually looks better. I prefer the rubber strap because in this iteration, it is too much of a standard Santos with a quirky blue bezel. And of course, yes, the Roman numerals are also blue. And yes, the sword-shaped hands are also blued, but they're still a bit weird. With the blue strap, the whole blue theme kind of blends in more. And it also makes more sense in a sporty sense. So, yes, it will match your blue tracksuit and it will match your denim better. But the big question, of course, will remain, does the shape of the bezel appeal to you? The stepped bezel, I don't think it's for everyone. But the good thing is, different people, different tastes. Overall, for 8,050 euros, you get a very recognizable Cartier with the blue cabochon on the crown, the Roman numerals, the typical screws also on the bracelet, but at the same time, it's something completely different. I'm still struggling to make up my mind, but I would love to hear or read what you think. So please, let me know in the comments. And while you're at it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.